All right, this is the Jumpstart Smart Supplementation webinar. We did these webinars last year, and they're pretty popular. People can kind of do them on their own time, and we will be sending out the quiz after the webinar. So I will actually post it up on the Facebook page, and the email tomorrow will come out. But the reason we're here tonight is to talk about micronutrition. Everybody's focused on macronutrition, which is carbs, proteins, and fats, and we sometimes forget about the micronutrition piece and how important that is. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because I think if you're really going to have a complete nutrition program, you want to have all your ducks in a row. And I've always said, I've said this over and over again in my nutrition seminars that I do, is think of water as like oil for your body, carbs, proteins, and fats are like fuel. These things are kind of like spark plugs, and you don't have to be a car mechanic to know that you need spark plugs for an engine to work properly. And I always like to start with the foundational pyramid, and that's mostly what I'm going to cover tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about some optimizers. But, I think everybody needs a foundational supplementation. That doesn't mean you totally don't eat food. We saw from the vegetable challenge a couple weeks ago that people really struggle with that. We still want to get our natural vitamins and minerals from our food, but most Americans fall very, very short of what they need. And so we want to make sure you're getting everything you need. And I would say you get some of it from food and you get some supplements in there just to make sure you're getting everything you need in the optimal amounts. And what I always believe in is some good dietary supplementation starts with a good multivitamin, multimineral, essential fats, being omega-3s, and then some probiotics and fiber. And those are kind of your foundational things. And optimizers go to the next level would be things that you might need that are specific to your goals. That might be something like a thermogenic or a glucosamine, which is for the joints. And then performance enhancers, that's going to get up to like your creatine and some of your specialized products for specialized sports. Maybe runners are taking something that's going to help them get more endurance. Strength athletes are going to take certain supplements that are going to help them recover from their workouts. So we're going to talk about foundation tonight. So let's get going on that piece. And then my slide clicks here. Okay. So I'm going to start with digestive health. And the reason I start with that, and we start with that, the 24-day challenge, we always start with the cleanse. And the cleanse is not meant, as much as people think it to be, is a weight loss thing, is that you want to be dealing with your digestive tract first, because your digestive tract, I don't care if you're trying to lose weight or put on muscle, that's where the rainmaker, that's where everything happens. If your digestive tract's not right, you're not going to absorb the good stuff, and you're not going to be as effective at getting rid of the bad stuff, and that's where you get a lot of the bloating, and a lot of people will tell me they have IBS and things like that. But a lot of it is just, when you hear what people eat, is that their digestive tract's just a mess, and they're either drinking alcohol too much, they're eating too much processed food and refined sugar, which is killing a lot of the good bacteria. Maybe they've been on a couple bouts of antibiotics, which will kill the good and the bad bacteria. And you need those good bacteria to help your body digest, to break down food. And the bacteria that you want are these two I've got listed up here, the L-Acidophilus in the small intestine, and the bifidobacteria kind of work more in the large intestine. And they actually, they'll help you break the food down and absorb it into your system, but they also move the food that you don't want, the waste, through the system. And so they work with the fiber. Probiotics, to me, there's a lot of companies out there that will talk about they got it in their food. And you can get them from certain foods, from fermented foods like sauerkraut, miso soup if you're an Asian food fan. Pickles are even a good source. Too, but personally, I have noticed a big difference, and our family's noticed a big difference when we supplement them in. And I like to take my probiotics in the morning before I eat, because what I've been taught by the scientists, and Advocare's got some great scientists involved in their company, is that a lot of the probiotics can be very unstable with stomach acid. So when you're mixing them in with actual food, so if you were to take it with a meal, there's a good chance a lot of those bacteria would be killed, because the stomach acid is going to increase when you're eating. To break the food down. So what you want to really ideally do is either take your probiotic in the morning before bed, or at night if you haven't eaten for a few hours, and get it down in the small intestine so it's not in there with the food. And that's where you want it to really kind of, in a sense, germinate. The other thing that I recommend, and I recommend this because I look at food journals all the time, is most people fall way short of fiber. The average American probably gets 12 to 13 grams of fiber, and I see this in food journals a lot. Fiber has a lot of volume to it. It actually People always think about it as, helping you go to the bathroom. But, a lot of, like I said, a lot of things happen in your digestive health and your digestive tract. You want to keep that clean, and you want to be regular, because if it's not coming out, it's not coming off. It's the famous saying. But also, fiber is really, really good at controlling blood sugar. And you guys have heard me talk about blood sugar is a really big factor in trying to lose body fat. Stable blood sugar helps you lose body fat, but also helps you stay mentally focused and helps your energy levels stay more consistent. So the two things I recommend with probiotics and the fiber are two basic things. You can go to the next level, which would be kind of in the optimizer thing, where you can go to some things like prebiotics and enzymes, which are a little more advanced. And I have a digestive health webinar I recorded last year. I talk a little bit more in depth on that. But with these two things, these will get you a long way. And this is basically 2 out of the 3 products we have in our herbal cleanse. And so a lot of people tend to stay on these products because they notice the difference when they go off. And especially as we get older, we don't have the digestive enzymes in our body, so digestion becomes a bigger issue for us. But it is a very important one. They've actually been studying down at the U of M that the link to digestive health and the gut health and how well the gut's functioning to things like, we don't even think about the brain, but they're connecting it to Parkinson's and ALS. And so more and more that's coming out about our overall health is it's really directly related to our digestive health and our immune system, our allergies, our metabolism. All those things are tied into that, so we want to take good care of that. So that's why I really want to put a priority on taking these things for your digestive health. I talked about the insurance policy, why the average American diet comes up way short. I mean, most people, really, to be honest with you, they need to be eating about 7 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Now, here's the deal, and we're not talking, craft fruits and vegetables. We're not talking like a fruit cup from Quick Trip or ketchup, something lame like that. We're talking good, organic, well-prepared vegetables or fruits. When we did the vegetable challenge a couple of weeks ago, even our most, I would say, our best nutrition clients, nobody could do 5 servings a day for 7 days, and that's what the advanced people want to do. So that really was an eye-opener to me. And that's where you're going to get a majority of your vitamins and minerals are from those types of foods. You're not going to get them from the rice and from the, from the protein. You're going to get them from the fruits and vegetables. So people really struggle to get these in. It just makes sense to have an insurance policy. And then there's also something we have called the RDAs. Everybody kind of looks at a lot of these things and think the RDAs. Well, the RDAs were created back in the early 20th century really to help prevent things like scurvy and rickets. Here in the U.S., we really don't see that very often. You'll see in other countries in Africa and things like that. But what they've found is there's actually a big tie-in to it. They help get rid of the infectious diseases, which are those diseases I just mentioned. But what they're finding a big link to not having enough of these micronutrients on board into the degenerative diseases, so things like arthritis, diabetes, these type of diseases that kind of wear you down over time. And so there's something called the ODAs, and the optimal daily allowances, where you continue to see a benefit before it starts to flatline and plateau off. So they're actually much, much higher than the RDAs. So there's a lot of people talking, and there's a lot of things going on to try to move the RDAs up or change the RDAs because they're kind of obsolete, unless I don't know about you guys, but I don't know anybody who has rickets or scurvy right now. So, we're going off the ODAs when we're doing this, and a lot of vitamins too, like your water-soluble vitamins, your Bs and your Cs. Your body has to be replenished through those throughout the day. So, when you're taking a B vitamin, your body's going to use what it needs, and you're going to pee out the rest, and same with the C. So a lot of the water-soluble, you want to be kind of almost like an IV, getting them in multiple times during the day. Why is, people don't really feel vitamins like they do carbs, proteins. They're not the sexy things. But I talk about the war within your body. This woman on the right, probably is a good example of, what oxidation does. It's just like the car on the left is we're rusting from the inside out. The cells of our bodies are attacked from things that contain free radicals, and free radicals are substances that come from things like stress, sunlight, pollution. Certain medications can bring them on. Exercise is a form of stress, so that can actually bring on free radicals. Has anybody seen if you've seen somebody who's like a chronic distance runner that does, some of these crazy people do like a marathon a month, their skin, they look aged, and that's because their body's taking on a lot of stress. And free radicals are really going to rust your body from the inside out. If you've ever taken a bite out of an apple and let it sit there and it turns brown, that's oxidation. And that's what can go on in our cells if we don't have enough things to offset that. So if you kind of think of this analogy, my favorite analogy to use is you think of your cells, be it your muscle cells, your skin cells, whatever cells, are like a white pristine rug in front of a fireplace. And think of a free radical like a spark coming out of that fireplace. Now, when those couple sparks hit that white pristine rug, it's not a big deal. But what if you left the fireplace open and let the rug continue to get hit by the sparks? Eventually, that rug's going to kind of wear down and look pretty molted and beat down. So all antioxidants do, what they do is they put a glass case in front of the fireplace to protect those cells, so your skin continues to look good, your muscles continue to feel good, you're not as sore or as inflamed. Those are all signs of free radical damage. And you've got some big players in there in your body. Your vitamin A, your vitamin E, your bioflavonoids. There's a lot of that's where vitamins are really important to take in, because they actually will. And your vitamin C, I almost forgot vitamin C is an antioxidant. Those vitamins are working like that glass screen in front of that fireplace to make sure that rug stays looking good, that rug being your cells. So this war is going on in our body every day. So if we're not doing things to offset the free radical damage, this is where we can start to get aged. So we can't always get rid of stress. We can't always sleep as good as we want. But one thing we can do is arm our body with enough antioxidants to hopefully neutralize the free radicals in our body so we don't rust from the inside out. What do they have to do with weight loss? So here's the deal. A lot of people in Jumpstart have weight loss goals. Inflammation is not, too much inflammation in the body is not a good thing. And so one of the roles of vitamins and minerals is they do actually help or act like spark plugs for the metabolism, like I said. But the other thing is, we talk about insulin sensitivity all the time, is that insulin sensitivity means the body's ability to take sugar, broken down carbohydrates, move it through the capillaries, which are kind of like little hoses, into the muscle cells and the liver where it belongs. The problem is when we get inflamed in the body, the hose becomes kinked in a sense. Those capillaries I was just talking about, where the sugar connects to the muscle cells, they get inflamed and they get like a kinked garden hose. Now that sugar can't flow through and go to the muscle cell where it belongs, well, guess where it's going to go? It's going to have more propensity to go into the fat cells. So one of the things we can do to help insulin sensitivity is keep our inflammation levels lower in our body. And certain minerals that are going to help out with that: chromium, vanadium, magnesium is a big one. Omega-3s help out with that. So, having these things on board helps your body be more insulin sensitive, or in other words, in layman's terms, your body able to take carbohydrates and use them appropriately, not store them as fat. Calcium, vitamin D. Excuse me. A lot of times these are packaged as a separate product. I know in Advocare we have Calcium Plus. They really work as a team. They work better together than taking them individually. Vitamin D actually helps your body absorb calcium. Magnesium and calcium need to be in balance for them to work optimally. And I always think of calcium as kind of we think of it, we know it's important for bones, and it's real important to keep, our bones strong, but it also is important for, you see blood clotting. It's also what I would think about as the muscle contracting mineral in the body. And so, having enough calcium is going to help your muscle contraction. There's been a lot of studies, too, that show with adequate calcium intake you get better weight loss results. On the other side of it is magnesium, which is real important, too, which I always think of calcium as kind of the contractor, magnesium is the relaxer. So magnesium kind of relaxes your body, and what burns up magnesium, number one, is really stress. So if you're under a lot of stress, which most of us are, it's really important to bring in magnesium as a supplement, I believe, and to bring that into the picture, because sometimes regularity problems, you can be eating all the fiber you want, and one of the issues is if you're low in magnesium, because magnesium does help relax the muscle, it does associate with better relaxed, smooth muscle tissue in the intestines, which helps you move things through the intestines. It does help with anxiety and depression, insomnia. I know, like, we have a pro product called Nighttime Recovery, which is a ZMA formula, which is what I would call a performance enhancement on that pyramid. It has a ton of magnesium, and it does really seem to give you kind of a mellow, relaxed effect. It's good for headaches, muscle spasms, and muscle cramps. So a lot of times when we have clients that are having lots of cramps, the first thing I ask them about is, are you doing any magnesium in your diet? And I would be willing to bet that's the number one thing. A lot of people think it's potassium. I believe it's more magnesium. So magnesium is a big player. You see vitamin D helps. We know that's an important one. They actually measure it like a hormone. It has a lot to do with mood and hormone and immune system, so that's why people get it prescribed for them like a medication here in the winter. But it also helps your body absorb calcium. if that vitamin D, if you don't have enough vitamin D, it's going to be hard to get the calcium. Even if you are taking calcium supplements on their own, it's going to be hard to absorb it and get it into the system where your body can use it and help it protect the bones. So I always think I always call them a CalMag supplement or a Calcium Plus like we have. I always take this one separate from a regular multivitamin, multimineral, which really is going to have the adequate amounts that you need in there. And so, we want to make sure that, we're getting these, I would recommend this as one of your big players as well as just a regular multivitamin. What about vitamins? They're not all created equal. I hear this a lot. So the best way I could talk about it is you want a USP grade vitamin. There's a lot of good companies that do that. Advocare happens to be one of them. Of course, I'm going to plug Advocare. I wouldn't carry Advocare if they didn't do this. But what the heck does USP grade mean? Well, most people don't know that most supplements are graded like food. So think about pizza. So pizza, if you look at the wrapper of a pizza, you look at the nutritional information, it's going to tell you the average of one slice. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that when you cut up a pizza, some slices are bigger than others, some have more pepperoni and more cheese than others, and there's not consistency from slice to slice. Well, that's how most supplements are regulated because that's what the FDA requires. So the problem there is if we treated that like penicillin, what if you got a penicillin subscription or maybe even worse like an anti-inflammatory and one pill had 50 milligrams and the other one had 500 milligrams? There's no consistency from pill to pill. The other thing about pharmaceutical grade is, when you have something like penicillin, it has to be regulated like a drug, is it has to be consistency from pill to pill. So what it has on the label has to say exactly what it has to have on the label. So if I say I got 50 milligrams of pill, every pill has to have 50 milligrams. Also with the USP grade product, it needs to dissolve within 30 minutes. And if it doesn't dissolve within 30 minutes, there's a good chance you're going to be pooping or peeing it out. And you want to make sure that that's getting assimilated in your body. And there's a certain grade of raw materials. So to be a USP grade supplement basically says that a pharmacy or a supplement company has voluntarily decided to raise up to the next level. They don't have to do it. Obviously, there's a cost involved. And yeah, the products are probably going to be more expensive than the crappy food grade ones. But the thing that you're going to find out is why pay for a vitamin if it's not doing anything for you, if it's got a bunch of fillers in it, just because it's cheaper and it's got a pretty box. And if you have a vitamin right now that you're using, here's a good test. Vinegar has a similar pH to your stomach. Throw that vitamin in that vinegar, and if it's not gone within 30 minutes, that's probably a good chance that that vitamin is not, it's got a lot of fillers and it is not a good vitamin. Because sometimes people have something and they don't know if it's good or not, so do the vinegar test. And the porta potty stories, I always bring these up because I had heard this story from two different people that knew people that worked for the porta potty company, and they said every time they would drain the porta potties, I know not the most great visual here, but I heard this from two different people. They'd find Centrum, Theragram M, all those cheap, crappy vitamins that you see on TV that they have a lot of nice commercials, but they would see these vitamins over and over again in the porta potties. And it's just like I said, a lot of times they aren't being absorbed, even though they're cheap, and the boxes might look cool, and they might have a cool name like Men's Megas 500 or thing like that. I would say, like a lot of the breads and a lot of the cereals, a lot of the vitamins out there are pure crap. They're food grade. And so if you are using a product, of course, guys know I do Advocare, but if you're using a USP grade product, that's a good thing. It doesn't matter if it's Advocare or not. Just make sure it's a USP grade, because then you're getting something that's regulated like penicillin versus pizza. So I hope that all makes sense. So moving on, the other supplement that I'm really a big fan of is omega-3s. Typical American diet, we're really, really high in vegetable oils. We're 20 to 50 to 1, 20 omega-6s, which are vegetable oils, to 50 to 1. We really want to be 2 to 1 to 4 to 1 omega-6. We want to reduce that ratio. And the problem is omega-3s are not all created equal. People sometimes will talk about flaxseed, which has omega-3s in it, but that's a different type of omega-3. We're talking about short chain versus long chain. So short chain ones like flaxseed are alpha-linoleic acid, which has its benefits, can help with digestive health and things like that, but it's not the same as the true omega-3, the fish oils. And the reason we do fish oils is because you find the highest omega-3 content in deep water plankton in the sea. So if you're getting salmon from a pond, you're not getting that. You're getting something from a pond. Salmon that are farm raised, you're not getting that. See, and the other problem with eating a lot of like the fatty fish like salmon and swordfish is that you contain a lot of mercury. So you can eat it through your diet, but it's very tough to get without putting yourself at a risk for mercury content. And I know when I was first dating my wife, she got sick of me cooking salmon all the time, and who wants to smell like salmon all the time, and it's not the cheapest meat. So omega-3s are actually a pretty cost-effective supplement. The biggest thing I really like them for is so many people have inflammation. I mean, we do a lot of pounding on our bodies. We're deficient. We have a lot of bad movement going on out there. You guys have been in the city. You know what I'm talking about. But reducing inflammation is we a lot of times we go to like a ibuprofen or a Aleve, things that are kind of hard on the stomach and the gut and the liver and the kidneys sometimes. And these things aren't good to pop on a regular basis. They're there really, when you talk to doctors, they're there really to get the inflammation under control. They're not meant to be a daily thing. One way you can get the inflammation down in your body is to starting to kick up your omega-3 in your body, because omega-3s from fish oils help produce your body. They help stimulate your body's natural anti-inflammatory response. There's a lot of studies, too, that link it into ADHD and brain function and cognition. The American Heart Association, which the medical community is really slow to respond, and supplementation actually recommends 1,000 milligrams a day for cardiovascular health. So it's very much related to your cardiovascular symptoms. There's been a lot of things, linking it up to mood and depression. And like I said before, it does help control metabolism and helps your body with your fat burning. And also having good fats, because lipids, your skin should contain a lot of lipids, lipids being fats. So having a lot of good omega-3s in your diet is going to help your skin look better. And your skin, if you guys don't know, is the biggest organ in your body. We don't think of it as an organ, but your skin health reflects your health on the inside. And especially for kids, for nursing mothers and for kids, very, very important as they're younger, when they're developing, is getting this in our kids for their brain and neural development. They found that that's huge for them. Really you want to get the 200 to 500 DHA, and I just say 500. Why not go to the top? 500 of DHA and EPA at the bottom. That's where you want to find a good supplement that has those amounts in it. And omega-3s, I like the gel caps. A lot of the brands out there now are really good about not having that fat, fishy, burpy aftertaste. I like to start with 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams a day just because of that ratio. I like to have people go a little bit more strong on these. It's pretty hard to overdose on these. I mean, you really, really, really have to try. But you want to be selective, just like I said with vitamins, somewhat selective. You want a USP grade product. We talked about that. And you want it to have, something that's contaminant free, and it should say that on the bottle. And then also when it has vitamin E being an antioxidant, helps it, kind of keeps it fresh and pure from being damaged. And stay away from your blended oils, because some people will go out and get these blended oils in the bottle, and a lot of times the blending of the things can actually decrease the effectiveness of the EPA and DHA. And I'm not even going to try to say those, because it's I can't even say it's something acid. That's just EPA, and let's just call it EPA and DHA. But those are your big players for health with the omega-3s. So make sure that you're kind of checking over your omega-3 supplement. And the biggest thing, like I said, a lot of people don't like to take them because of the fishy aftertaste. A lot of them will have things in place, that try to prevent that, or they have something else, a flavor in place that helps you when you burp that up. If you do burp it, it's not going to taste like fish. Once again, just to review, long chain are going to be your fish oils, cold water fish, not farm-raised fish. Short chain or ALA are for energy, and then, like I said, flaxseed, the nuts, and the green vegetables. So when you see label reading, when you see flaxseed contains omega-3s, they're not the same omega-3s. It's a marketing ploy to make you think it's the same thing. So they got to be treated different. They're two different things. It's kind of like saying that the sugar from pop is the same as the sugar from fruit. Maybe not the best analogy, but there are two types, so just be aware of that. And I do like short chain because there is a lot of good things. They do help with weight loss, they do help with digestive health, but they're not going to do the same thing as the long chain. Branched chain amino acids, sometimes you don't talk about this a lot, but especially when you're working out, and especially after the age of 40, we tend to drop 1% of our muscle tissue unless we take steps to maintain it. So branched chain amino acids, you'll see BCAAs a lot on a lot of the bodybuilding and fitness sites. That's just what it stands for. There's three distinct amino acids. So if you look at a protein has different amino acid, has over 20 amino acids, and it looks, if you think of each amino acid kind of like a pearl on a necklace, 3 of those pearls are going to be branched chain amino acids. They're called leucine, which is probably the most prevalent of the 3, isoleucine, and valine. Those are the 3. But their biggest thing is to help protect and rebuild muscle tissue. And as we're lifting weights, as we're training hard, even if as we're training hard for maybe an endurance event, and doing a lot of long runs and things, we are tearing down muscle tissue. We're literally tearing it. And so we want to take steps to protect it and not have it be used up as energy. We want to help it rebuild and recover. And I look at branched-chain amino acids are essential to help protect that muscle so that as you cut weight and drop weight, you drop in the right kind of weight. And they do, when you do take them, they do decrease your soreness and increase your improve your recovery time. And so like people a lot of times can't differentiate how it's kind of like we talked about with the fatty acids. You think of protein's a protein. You want to be taking in, if you're training hard and you're trying to lose muscle, you want to have branched-chain amino acids to be a regular thing in your diet. So what are the foods that have the most of those? I know we're talking supplementation. Your number one is going to be your whey, and you'll see that in a lot of shakes is whey protein, egg protein, and beef protein are the top three that have branched-chain amino acids. But it also makes sense to supplement, and the reason a lot of people work out in the morning, you can get these in a tablet form like our Catalyst product, and they go in the system. They enter when they're in food, they got to be broken down and assimilated. But when you take them as a supplement, they can be assimilated fairly quickly. So taking these in the morning before a workout, taking them after workout, they can be assimilated and they can start to go to work on your muscles fairly fast. If they're not, you're not taking just the ones, you're not just getting them with food. You do want to get some with food, just kind of like the vitamins, but I would recommend supplementing these in as well. And this is kind of your anti-skinny fat formula. This actually Catalyst was actually developed for the wrestling team in 1996, our Olympic wrestling team. And you guys know how wrestlers cut weight, and a lot of times they cut it and do really extreme things that can lose a lot of muscle weight. But we use this product a lot in our 24-day challenge just because it does help preserve muscle and put armor around it, so you're actually getting toner. If you're losing 50% muscle and 50% fat, even though you're losing weight, you're not getting any leaner. You're just becoming a smaller version of what you were, and you become that term skinny fat. So whether you're a strength or an endurance athlete, I think this is a great supplement to be using just to make sure that you're giving your body those branched-chain amino acids to recover. And the reason I say that is because I look in food journals, a lot of people get kind of hooked on peanut butter. Peanut butter is a fat, and it does not have branched-chain amino acids in it like those other things I talked about. So even if you were going to have, let's say you were going to have peanut butter as your protein at breakfast, you could still take the Catalyst with that, and still get some branched chain. Or if you're a vegetarian, people ask me, what do you do if you're a vegetarian? This would be great for vegetarians. This would help them stay on their plan without eating meat, but also getting the branched-chain amino acids that they need so that they can stay strong and lean and toned. A lot of vegetarians that I've noticed that do lack a lot of strength and a lot of muscle tone because they're not getting these in there. So these are essential. And muscle, you guys got to think of it, it's like gold. It's the key to your metabolism. It's your key to your furnace. If any of you guys saw the Biggest Loser article that came out on New York Times a couple of days ago about all the people losing the weight that quick and their metabolisms are ruined, one of the big reasons that happens is because when you lose weight fast, you lose muscle tissue. And if you lose muscle tissue, that's setting you up for a yo-yo effect. So, a lot of times I'm just really on women because most women gravitate towards cardio and they don't want to do this, but they don't want to do strength training as much, but strength training should be the number one priority and making sure you have enough protein on board to keep that muscle, protect that muscle like it's Fort Knox, and this is one of the ways to do it. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some optimizers. Things that you might throw an extra in, like if you have arthritis and you have a lot of inflammation in your joints, glucosamine and chondroitin can be a good thing that you can throw in. I know we have our joint promotion in our wellness line. We use that. That's a good one. You can also throw in some extra vitamin C. If you're training really hard, it doesn't hurt to put in some extra vitamin C and supplement that in there as well. Thermogenics can be good. The only thing I talk about with thermogenics is thermogenics are there, people associated with weight loss, and the reason being is calories are associated with weight loss, and so calories are a measured unit of heat. So what they do is they increase the heat in your body, therefore increase the calorie burning. The problem with thermogenics, though, is if you stay on them too long, they can actually wear down your adrenal glands, and I'm a testimonial to that. I used to use a lot of thermogenics like ephedra, things like that, and I actually put myself in adrenal burnout, and that's where you're really fatigued. It's not a good thing. You don't have a lot of energy and a lot of mental focus. So, I learned the hard way. The big thing with thermogenics is if you do use them, cycle on and off. I would use them for maybe 4 weeks, and then I would get off them for a while and let your body kind of rebound. There's just a lot of diminishing returns with those. And you got to be really, really careful. If you're starting a new thermogenic, I would recommend taking a small dose and just see how your body responds first before just going, balls to the walls. And just take as many as I can, because they can increase your heart rate, they increase your blood pressure, and especially if you have high blood pressure or cardiovascular deal, you definitely want to be really careful, and you definitely probably should check with your pharmacist about it. There's just been too many bad instances with these where people's heart races and things like that. So some people tolerate them better than others. I know I tolerate them really well. Other people don't. So just something to think about with the thermogenics if you're trying to lose weight, trying to act and bring that in. But once again, don't take these until you got all your fundamental things in. You got your food right. You've got your other supplementation right. Then stack these on top of it. 5-HTP, this is something that can help with mood health. We have a thing called Clear Mood, but 5-HTP has been around for a while. And for those people that are kind of sick of being on the drugs, and the side effects sometimes are your metabolism and your weight gain don't go so well, or you don't lose weight. So 5-HT can be a good alternative. What my brother told me, though, my brother suffers from depression. You can't be on usually an antidepressant and a 5-HTP at the same time, but 5-HTP is a good one. You can try if one of your things is just having a good outlook and a good attitude and having depression-like symptoms. Stacking that with some omega-3s could be an effective stack. The one thing I want to tell you about some of these things is they don't work for everybody. With these optimizers, you got to try them for yourself and see. I never tell somebody this works for everybody. A lot of research will come behind these things and show this, but what I've learned being in this field for 21 years is there's not one product, not one thing that works for 100% of people 100% of the time. So they're just things you can add on to the other things that I just mentioned to maybe enhance your program. The other things you can talk about, I talked about is, and I don't have a slide up for it, but is like our nighttime recovery, which is a ZMA formula, which is zinc, magnesium. Those two products, zinc helps with your hormone production and your immune system, and magnesium, like I said, relaxes your body to get into a deeper sleep. And where sleep is where you actually release a lot of growth hormone, which can help with fat loss and recovery of your muscle tissue. And most Americans don't get nearly the amount of sleep they want. So we have a product called Nighttime Recovery. Once again, Nighttime Recovery is our version of a ZMA product with Advocare. But if you are using a ZMA product, just make sure it's a USB grade. But yeah, just make sure that you guys, you're taking in, being consistent with your vitamin intake. Every once in a while I'll stop my vitamins when I feel like my digestive health's off, and that's when I do a cleanse. And the reason we do the cleanse is basically because we want to clean up the digestive tract so we can start to absorb those vitamins and minerals. Those of you that have been on M&S from Advocare, you can kind of tell when you don't feel your M&S pack anymore, and then you do a cleanse, and all of a sudden it feels like you can feel the energy you get from that. So sometimes that's the times that I would go off some of those things, off those fundamental supplements when I feel like my digestive tract's off. Maybe I've been on a trip and I've been eating and drinking things I don't normally drink, or it's after the holidays and I've been had too many of my wife's coconut balls or whatever it is. That's a good time to do a cleanse and get off the vitamins, because chances are you're probably not absorbing a lot of them anyway. And do the cleanse, spend 10 days or whatever cleanse you're doing, get the digestive tract under control, and then reintroduce them again as well. But that's all I've got right now. Does anybody have any questions before I wrap this thing up? All right. Well, I must have done an awesome job. I don't see any questions. You can always email them to me, or you can put them in the chat box here. But I am recording this, so if you guys want to watch this again, so look for the quiz tomorrow. And then I'll put the link up if you want to watch this again. But hopefully this was give you some ideas. We're not talking, you always use the term cuckoo berry juice from Dr. Oz. Not doing any magic herbs here or anything. These are just basic things your body needs to function optimally. And some of us need more than others. Like, I have really good joints, luckily, but some people have terrible joints, and they might need some glucosamine. Some people are naturally really lean. They might not need thermogenics. Or some people have high blood pressure, and they shouldn't take thermogenics. So hopefully this brought some insight to you guys. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys later. I'm going to sign off for the night, and I'll have the quiz ready for you guys tomorrow. So make sure to take the quiz, and when you send it, just email it back to us, or you can scan it and text it to me too as well. That's it. So you guys have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.